Me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to a very special virtual meet tonight. We will be talking about our recent visit to Edinburgh with our guests and our hosts when we were down there as well. Eileen from Phantom Seekers, Nicola from Whispering Souls, Paranormal, and of course Scott from Paranormal and History, who also looked after us as well. So massive hello to you guys, and thank you for your hospitality. And thanks for making it such an amazing weekend. I know I wasn't there myself, so I'm looking forward to hearing all about it tonight. So we're going to get straight into it because we've got 3 locations to talk about. The first one wasn't an investigation, but it's a very, very interesting place, Roslyn Chapel. So Kyra, Claire, Richie, Lindsay, what's your thoughts? Who's going first?
It's an amazing place to visit. If you haven't visited it, you absolutely should. They put on talks every so often throughout the day in the chapel, which are brilliant. Loads of information. You're kind of free to go and have a look around as you wish. And it is truly special. Yeah.
Yeah, it is totally unique, isn't it? What's your thoughts, Claire, on it?
Yeah, I think it's a lovely place. It's very, very pretty. Love the architecture of the place, and there's definitely an interesting feel in certain locations, shall we say? Really like it. So,
yeah, Lindsay.
Yeah, just similar. Really enjoyed it. I thought like the carving and stuff like that was amazing. And some of the stuff that appeared in the carvings was apparently not even discovered at the time that it was done. And it's one of these kind of weird how is it even there? And yeah, I was quite surprised that you were allowed in certain bits of it. I felt quite bad when you were up. I can't remember what the area was called, but up at the back of it, the ladies something, I think it was called, and people were just walking over like the graves and things like that, and it just all felt a bit strange to me. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I found the guide that we had was very engaging, and she brought it all to life, which I thought was great in her talk.
Yeah, great. That's brilliant. I mean, I visited a couple of years back now, and yeah, it's an amazing place. I take it you guys down south, you visited a few times, have you?
Yeah. Oh well, that was my playground as a child. I was born and lived less than a mile away from Roslyn Chapel. So Roslyn Chapel was actually my playground. We used to play in the crypt. It was back in the day before it was a tourist attraction, and there was no big wall and tourist, money to pay to get in. So I'm very familiar with Roslyn.
So could you actually get into the church back then, or was?
Oh yes.
Yeah. How cool!
There was sort of cheese going through the roof and everything, but it was in not a very good state of repair. I'm talking about 60 years ago.
Wow.
A long time ago. As a small child, we would play in the crypt, and it was our playground. I'll go up there with a bottle of juice and a Mars bar and we'd be in there all day. So it's a very, very changed place now, but I would agree with everything that you guys have said. It's a very special place, and the minute you actually go in there, it hits you. It absolutely reeks of history and mystique, and there's something quite mysterious about it still. It's such a history, and the tour guides are very knowledgeable. One of them is actually a friend of ours, and it's amazing what they can tell you.
Yeah, I imagine it's one of these places, every time you go to it, you see something you didn't see
very much
last time. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I think I've always said once I've been to, I recommend it to everybody. You should go. It's one of the one. It is a wonder. and it is well worth a visit. So I'm glad you guys got the chance to visit it then. And then on the Sunday, we were in the hands of Scott, and looking after us, feeding us, and then over to Lououn Kirk. So Scott, do you want to tell us a bit about the history of Lououn?
Well, I know it was on Eileen's bucket list, so that's ticked off the list. Lououn, we've been investigating Lououn for about 3 years now, and we've done how many investigations I've lost count, and we feel we've built up a relationship with the spirits that are there. It dates back, as far as we know, back to the 700s, when it was the National Kirk Club. Obviously, it's kind of abandoned now, but there's graves inside. Used to be the church. Graves predate the church. The church predate. The church was there before the graves. That makes sense. I can never remember the word for it. Predate or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating place. It's not massive. It's not that big. But it's a fascinating place, and it's a place that we've always had activity. Whether we get some nights it maybe just flash a cat ball or something like that, but then there's other nights it's been kind of full on. There is a crypt in it. I sent Claire the photographs. We were lucky enough about a year and a half ago, something like that. Crypt's locked. It's a crypt of the Campbell family, I believe. But the crypt's always locked. But we went there one day, and just so happened that Friends of Lououn Kirk was a group that looks after the yard with there. And they says, the crypt's open, so if you want to jump in, you're welcome. So we all kind of basically ran up into this crypt, because we'd been there for about a year and a half prior to that. And we were always sort of begging to find out what was inside. So, I mean, the history of it is, obviously we concentrate quite a lot on the Dempster family. And there's also another couple of spirits there, a little girl and our dad, as far as we know. And we're kind of built up a rough history of them. The Dempster family owned a farm, which is about a quarter of a mile away from the actual Kirk itself. So there's kind of close ties there. But it's just it's a fascinating place. And I was really happy that the guys and girls were able to come down. Because it's a place we've spoken about many times on lives, and it's always good to get to bring somebody else in, somebody fresh in, and show them what we've experienced, basically.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating place.
Yeah, and I was hearing that the guys did pick up on some things that you guys had previously picked up on, which is great as well.
There was two particular areas that was obviously we told the guys and girls where we were going, but that was it, and I was over the moon when Claire, Kyra, Lindsay, Eileen as well picked up in that one particular area. Claire picked up on the Celtic cross, which she'll tell you about, and then down the back end, when they picked up on names and that done. So it was about they two, and that's the two main areas where we've had activity, and they went straight to, no straight to it, but they were drawn towards it.
Yeah.
But I also let them tell you. But it was a great day, and the weather was dry, so that was a big bonus as well.
It always helps. Yeah, always helps. So, Claire, I know you've told me, but for everyone else's benefit, the Celtic cross.
Yeah, the Celtic cross. I must admit, I am drawn to Celtic crosses whenever I'm in a graveyard, and perhaps it was initially. Well, I thought to myself maybe it was because there wasn't any other Celtic crosses in that graveyard. So perhaps that was why. But then the more I went over to that area, the more intrigued I was. And looking about and looking at the cross itself, there's no name. There's nothing engraved in it at all. So then I was a bit like, well, that's a bit bizarre. Why wouldn't you have something, engraved in it? And then I was aware of the fact that there was a little girl, and I was using the rod, and I asked, was there anybody there that wished to communicate with me? And they swung out as if to say no. So I was a bit like, okay, well, I've got a response at least, but, I'd like you to be a bit more chatty. So I asked, was it a little girl? I did get a yes response. And then I thought, okay, if this is a little girl, maybe she'd like to play a game. And yeah, where is the rest of this headstone? Because I believe that headstone isn't actually where the grave is. The grave is separate to where this cross is now in the ground. So yeah, just asked for the little girl to show me where I was going. And I would stop every now and again and ask, am I going in the right direction? Can you point the rods to where you want me to go? And slowly made my way around the kirk and to what is basically a grave which is in the ground. It looks like potentially could have been the rest of that headstone, but there was other masonry lying on top of it. So it was difficult to know for definite, but yeah, that was quite interesting, just with that experience in itself, being sort of shown around to where the rest of that headstone belongs. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. I know I've done the hunt the headstone in graveyards before with the rods, and you sometimes get really, really good results. But that's really interesting that it does seem to have taken you to, as far as we know, the correct location.
We were always under when we first started going, we were always under the impression it was a grave. And as Claire says, there's no any inscriptions, which we found quite bizarre as well. And it wasn't until months later that we discovered that it wasn't actually a grave. At first we thought, it might be somebody to do with the church or, something like that. But then we found out that it wasn't an actual grave. And when Claire picked up on the wee girl, that was really fascinating, because that's what we've always picked up on a wee girl in that area every time we go.
Yeah, I just love it when, I know the guys didn't do any research or anything before they went, and I know even Scott, we've spoken about it, but never in any real detail as well. So it's really cool to get that kind of corroboration, of taking somebody else in and doing it. So, Lindsay, what were your thoughts on Lououn?
I had quite a weird experience because I'm not normally a wanderer that goes off on my own. Fiona was saying she didn't know her role in the group, and we were joking it was that, but no. So I actually just took myself off, which I've never done, but ever, I don't think. But as soon as I got in the graveyard, it was like, go and find John. That was what I got. So I was like, right, okay. So I knew roughly where I was going, and then I went down to two graves. And I was kind of trying to do a bit to work out which of the two it was, because unfortunately, it was John in both. So I was like, right, okay, I don't know which one. And I was getting like a little bit of like K2 hits and stuff like that, a wee bit of answers, but nothing too much. I then went over and sort of spoke with Kyra and Richie, and they were sort of telling me about an experience they were having with the dowsing rods. So then I was talking to them. I'll let them tell you about that though. And then it was actually quite nice to work with Kyra, because obviously we don't normally get a chance to do that. So the two of us were then drawn back over to the same area that I'd originally been drawn to. And then I was like, nah, it's actually, it's up a bit. And then we had a really interesting and quite emotional discussion with a family there. But I'll shut up just now and let Kyra and Richie continue, and we can come back later if need be. But yeah, enjoyed it.
Cool.
I think the weirdest thing for me, we had quite an emotional sort of interaction with Spirit, which don't really want to go into crazy amounts of detail with, because if it did turn out that it could be proven, it's, quite sensitive to the family. But when we walked in there, I felt a certain spot of the grounds that I just was forced to stop. Didn't know why. got a set of dowsing rods. It was Richie's idea to do it, and I started walking, and there was a particular point they crossed. And we thought, okay, well, it's on a bit of a slope. Maybe it's just the way you're walking. So I did it the other direction, and they crossed in the same place again. So you did it, didn't you? Lindsay did it, and Colin did it too.
Yeah, I think Colin.
And it happened to every single person in the same spot.
And the same hits as well. With
they crossed in the same place.
And it was quite abrupt, wasn't it? There was no delay. It was, you got to that point, and it was very, very
straight away. But we weren't asking any questions or anything. Did actually get Claire to do it later on, and the only difference then was that there was some investigating going on in the place where we were getting most of the activity, and funnily enough, they did not cross for Claire when she did it. The only variant was that there was investigating going on, so we're not sure if we were being drawn there. You had the idea that maybe there's a ley line there or something.
Possibly,
but we found that really interesting.
Yeah, I did have a wee look at ley lines, but there's not a lot of information. I actually plotted there is a ley line map for Glasgow, so I continued that line down from Glasgow, but it didn't go through Loudoun. Interesting enough, though, again, it didn't kind of line up right. But if I headed east from Loudoun and went right across the coast and with a line, taking Loudoun Castle into the mix as well, you actually had quite a few historic sites that were on or very close to the line, all the way east, castles, graveyards, and the likes. But I'm no expert on ley lines, so I would have to do a lot more digging. But I do know when we do Clava Cairns, there's a place in Clava Cairns where whenever you walk across it, the rods, doesn't matter who's got the rods always turn in the same direction.
It was interesting to have. I mean, obviously Richie knew I'd done it, but Lindsay didn't know, Colin didn't know. I asked them to do it, and they had the exact same responses, which is really interesting. And the fact that it didn't happen for Claire, but there was investigating going on, it's yeah. So really, really interesting. What about yourself, Eileen? Because that was your first visit.
Amazing. It's a place that, like Scott said, it's a place that I've been wanting to go to for some time, and it was one of those places where it was a bit like going to Old Pentland, Nicola. The minute you walked in those gates, the atmosphere kind of hit you. And Richie, you remarked that to me as well, Richie, as we walked through the gates, didn't you? There's a definite aura about the place as soon as you walk in there. And I was kind of behind. I think I was behind you at the time, Lindsay. And it seemed to be almost immediately that Lindsay was drawn away down to that far end. And then Kyra with her dowsing rods, it was very emphatic. The dowsing rods is not something that I've ever used. And maybe I should get some and have a wee go, because it was absolutely amazing that all members of Highland Paranormal that use the dowsing rods, they all got these remarkably emphatic results at the same areas, and it was really quite. It was too much of a coincidence for there not to be some significance in it all. But it was a super place, and as Kyra said, we picked up on some information that is a bit sensitive, and it's perhaps a line of communication if we were to return would like to pursue to find out if there's any validation. But certainly it seemed to have hurt Kyra quite badly. I mean, I don't know Kyra apart from meeting her that day. She doesn't strike me as being a lily liver. But Kyra was definitely quite badly affected. She became quite emotional about it all, and it so quickly as well, with so little information to go on. And I think there's definitely a story there to learn, I think there's a few stories lying in that kirkyard that are waiting to be told. A remarkable place, and we were saying to Scott, I'd love to go back in the dark, and spend a night in it.
I mean, I know, a lot of kirkyards and stuff like that, the atmosphere changes at night time because it gets dark, So, but with Lououn Kirk, as we've just always found it fascinating from day one. And you know, as everybody says, you walk in the gate, you can feel that there is a totally different kind of atmosphere. And it's the funny thing with Lououn Kirk is what we've found, and other teams that we took in there at night, it's like I say, after 9 o'clock, and I know spirits don't have awareness of time, but it's after 9 o'clock, and Spiggle validate us as well, we Rosie Cardi as well. It's the atmosphere just seems to shift, and you can sense it right away. So we've done a lot of investigations there, and some before we started before 9 o'clock. We've had very little, but then after 9 o'clock, and people might think I'm talking bollocks, but it's after 9 o'clock. It just seems to change, and things start coming through, you know, and you always get the feeling that there is more. And we've got a load of EVPs with several spirits talking to each other. You know, and I mean, I've had my name mentioned just about every time we go there. Sarah, Laura, we've all their names. I had my full name mentioned, but it was kind of really weird that they knew my surname, because we never used, you know, you say you guys, we never used surnames. So I get my full name mentioned there as well, and I don't know. It's one of these places, as Eileen says, there's quite a few stories. We're following the Dempster story now, because he seems to be the one that's coming forward most of the time. But there's a long way. There's a long road to go at Lououn. We're nowhere near done with Lououn. We're planning an overnight investigation there. I think, Richie, I was talking to you about it when you were done.
Yeah.
We were throwing the idea about we're going to try that and see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Very warm. It was freezing.
It wasn't freezing. The sun was out half a day. Behave, woman. Just you buy a big jacket.
Yeah. Laura's basically saying what you're saying there, Scott, as well. The atmosphere completely changes at night. It's like you're still welcome, but it's like it comes alive. It is funny how places change after dark.
I've done what I found odd as well? Just look the physical layout of the place. That, as Scott said, the actual original chapel building predated a lot of the graves. And there's like 2 gable ends left of the original building and kind of graves that are encroaching along where the wall should have been. I thought, that's a bit odd, you know. It was quite unusual for that to be like that. You know?
Up here in the Highlands, it's very common for ruined churches to have loads of graves within the footprint of the church. Now, so there's quite a
church built.
When was the church built?
As far as we know, it was in the 1100s. The original church was built.
So what you're looking at, I'm just sort of thinking, because you've got this child spirit, and I'm just wondering, you know, if you look pre-Reformation, it would have been a Catholic church. What you need to remember is any child, any stillborns, any child that died before getting christened would not have been allowed to be buried in the actual graveyard. They would have been buried in the boundary wall. So there would have been, so it may well be that's where the child's coming from.
The child was a bit older than that. The child that we were picking up on was, you know, like a toddler, but later on.
And when I asked questions, one of the questions I asked was, "Is this your grave?" And the response was no. And I asked, "Is it a family member?" And the response was yes. So I do think it was the spirit belonged to whoever was buried. In the
there is a little girl there we picked up on, and we've always thought she's around about 11, 12-year-old, and we've had the name Lisa through 3 times. It was Spig that was with us that night, and it was Rigger that gave us the name Lisa. 3 individual times. He had the headphones and the blindfold on, and he was some distance away from us, and we asked, "Can you tell me the name of the little girl?" and she, like I said, Lisa. So I asked another twice at different intervals, and we get the same name back, Lisa. We've never been able to find out anything about this little girl. And her dad as well, who we believe is called Ian. We always get the name. When we pick up on Lisa, we tend to pick up on Ian as well. And we've asked a few times, you know, are you Lisa's father? And we've always said yes through. We've never ever been able to find out anything about who this little girl is and why she's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, the amount of times that we've hit brick walls with names and research, especially graveyards, the older graveyards, it just isn't easy to get the records, and there's in a lot of cases they're long lost. You know, it would have been the church that would have kept the records, and even after, you know, it's gone out of use, it's just virtually impossible. I've got, you know,
so many unmarked graves as well, so it's not even a question of looking for headstones, because there'll be so many unmarked.
Yeah. As I said, unmarked.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just saying unmarked graves, wooden crosses as well that are long since gone. You know.
Yeah, because I'd commented on how much vast space there was that didn't appear to have anything. You know, the graves were quite concentrated, and then there was big areas that didn't have anything, but obviously they're not going to not have anything. It's just that they're not marked or recognised.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely.
Sorry, Liam, when you go.
No, I was just saying, absolutely fascinating place, and I think by the sounds of it, it's got still got a lot to give.
Oh, there's still a lot to come at Loudoun. Just two things with Lisa. We thought maybe Lisa was tied to the farm. Because it was a Dempster's farm, and there's a few times I was telling the folks when they were over that I've said, you know, I've been up at the farm, and with the DVPs, it's usually female voices saying Scott was up at the house, Scott was up at the farm, kind of thing. So we thought, is Lisa maybe tied to the farm? You know, is there a connection there? And one of you guys mentioned a well.
That was me.
Kyra, you mentioned we found out for the owner of the farm, he looked at the original plans for the cottages, and there was a well up at the farm at one point. I'm going back years and years and years ago, but there was a well there. Close together,
I'll put that back up on the screen. So yeah, I mean, that was one of my thoughts with the dowsing rods, where we're actually dealing with a water course, though it would be pretty unique in a graveyard.
The thing was, there was a wee burn that ran down the side of it, but it was running the opposite direction to the way the rods were taking us.
Yeah.
Complete opposite direction.
Although when we were in the sort of at the graveyard where we were getting a lot of the communication, when we asked, the rods kept pointing over in the direction of the burn, and I think that was confusing us, because I was getting water, you were getting the well, and it was like, well, the well was over there and then the burn was over there. So it was quite interesting, you know, that there was the burn, you know, just at the outskirts of the graveyard, which I of course didn't see on the way in because I'm too busy looking, graveyard.
Yeah, you're not alone there, Lindsay. I'd be the same.
I kind of picked up that the well is significant and peculiar to the spirit of the little girl, and the story that we think we uncovered, that's very significant.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So lots more, and I'm sure we'll find out more. I know, Scott, if you pick up anything, you'll be sure to let us know anyway. And are you going to do some lives from your overnighter?
We're going to do them Oz lives.
Right.
So whether people are awake or no, we don't know, you know. But no, they'll all be done is because the signal is quite good down there. Laura was saying there that where the burn is, there used to be dwelling houses.
Right.
It's a fascinating area. It's because you keep finding out wee bits and pieces. you know, about the area, about the Kirkyard, about the farm, and it's just with one big puzzle that you're trying to put together, and that's how there's still a long way to go. But no, we will be doing the overnight as lives. So hopefully
look forward to that. I'll try and stay awake.
I think the latest we've ever been there is about 1 o'clock in the morning. I think that's the latest we've been around by that time. And I think it just got too cold, and we called it quits. So we're planning to stay till sort of 3, 4 in the morning this time. The thermals on.
It comes along and locks the gates at night time.
No, the gates are never locked. There's a wee wall at the back of it anyway. Can you care that? Never said that. No, the gates are. I think the only people that bother with it is the friends of Lououn Kirk. Because you know where, I mean, you know where it is. It's kind of, it's no near anywhere.
No.
You know, it's not near the main road or anything. And I think it's just been forgotten about. And as I was saying to the guys when they were there that Sunday, there's been a lot of work done in it. I mean, if you get back maybe a year, there was a load of bushes, brambles, everything, you know, but this group brought people in and they totally gutted the place. So you can see a lot more. Some of the headstones, especially around the edges, you couldn't see. You had to go digging for them, pardon the pun. But it's all been cleared away and they're kind of out in the open now, you know. But it's just, I say, the gates aren't locked. I think it's just the friends of Lououn Kirk that bother with it now, and us.
Cool. Well, we'll wait with bated breath for the next instalment from there then. But yeah.
Plenty more to come, my friend. Plenty more to come.
That first place that you took us to was quite interesting as well. But we didn't particularly pick up on anything. It was quite a flat kind of atmosphere, but it was an interesting place nevertheless.
St Quiverks.
St Quiver,
It's a funny name. Took me ages to learn how to pronounce the name. I could never pronounce it, you know. And I would never done an investigation there, as I said, and it's just been a place we've visited, you know, once or twice. The wee one, she done her own wee investigation there, you know. She done a wee mini one, but we've never actually went in and investigated there. But it's a nice wee place.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll then move on to Monday.
Liam, can I just quickly go back to? I just had a thought about about Roslyn. So Lynn had told us that there's a specific bit that you walk by and it affects you, and that was all she said. So she was like, "Right, walk up there and see if anything happens." So I said, "Right, okay." So I went up and I got 3 steps in, and all of a sudden my left ear went really full, like you know when you go on a plane and it goes like that. And it was just my left ear, a bit of buzzing, a bit of fullness kind of thing. So I was like, fine. And then basically different people come over and they sort of did it independently. So Kyra, I think you were next, were you?
Yeah, I think so. When I did it, I felt like I was being pulled down, like weighted down towards the ground.
And what happened to you, Rich? You felt quite unwell when you went over it.
Yeah, well, at first I felt like I was swaying. Like I was like on a boat. It was weird because like we're obviously in a chapel, but I felt like I was swaying like left to right. Then it was just before the talk ended, where the same feeling I had at Durn came with I had like a headache by my eye, again, and it was just that weird feeling. But like I was thinking to myself, oh, could it have been dehydration? But we had food and stuff before the exploring bit, so it was just I had to come away from it, so that's why I felt better when I came away, but it was that same feeling I had at Durn again.
That wasn't a good feeling.
No.
I was a bit the same as you actually with it. I stepped out as well.
Yeah, I'd come away,
yeah. I thought I was going to take a funny turn, so I thought I'm going to take myself out of this place, and felt fine as soon as I came out. It wasn't anything oppressive or anything. It just, just a lot of energy.
And then it was interesting because then when Claire did it, do you want to say Claire?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to yourself. Just took a few steps in, and then literally the same space had the same side of the ear, just that ringing sensation where I just thought, oh, that's just a bit weird.
And this is all without us discussing it with each other.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, like come and have a walk down here. So that was interesting as well.
Did you tell the guide?
Yes, and they said that there is something about that. But what was interesting as well is they were talking about the bit underneath that's sealed. And we were sort of talking about, you know, what is it that's actually under there? Is that why Kyra was getting the feeling of, you know, being pulled in there or whatever? But yeah, because nobody knows because it's been closed for so long. Is it 300 years or something it was closed? Can't remember the time frame, but out with anybody that's alive's lifetime anyway.
So yeah, with Mary Magdalene. You watched Da Vinci.
How interesting. Yeah. As you say, Richie, it's all, you know, it's cool, isn't it, when independently people get the same thing in the same place. So yeah, that's really, really interesting. Be interesting to see what other people's theories are on that. So you need to tell Eileen and Nicola exactly where it was, so when they go back next time, they can try it too.
Yeah. Basically, on the aisle, when you're walking away from where the minister or priest would stand, and it's like 3 steps down once you hit the benches. It's like 1, 2, 3, and it's right there. And if you just stand for a wee minute, and yeah, quite interesting. But yeah, every one of us.
I wonder if that's where the apprentice was slain.
Well, it's right under is it the keystone? Is that what the middle centre point of the building? I think it's the keystone, and it's directly below that. So whether that's of significance, we don't know.
It's basically in line with the second pew because that's where we were sitting. We were sitting beside. Yeah.
It's an awful pity that we didn't know these were there that day because Eileen will tell you, Old Pentland Graveyard is only a stone's throw from Roslyn, and that is where the Templars originally were, and it predates Roslyn, and the whole connections there. And some of the Templar slabs that were found in Old Pentland are actually on display in Roslyn, and there's a certain spot in Old Pentland that you get affected exactly the same way you're describing in Roslyn Chapel.
That's interesting.
And
it's a shame because if I'd known that your other planned visit hadn't gone ahead, I would certainly have taken you up there because Old Pentland has very, very strong links to Roslyn. And if you visit Roslyn, then you really should visit Old Pentland as well.
For the next time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't think I've visited. I've visited a few of the old graveyards around there, but I don't think I've visited that one. Pretty sure. No, I'd remember if I had.
That was another climb over the wall and skin your knees job. You
don't have to climb. You don't have to climb walls now, do you? I'm not sure. As long as it's not, I've only got wee legs, so as long as it's not a high wall, I might manage it.
We'll give that post up, Liam.
Perfect. Thanks, Richie. Always rely on you. Right. We need to move on to that. We could talk all night about Loudoun and that, but I think we need to move on to the Banshee. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I see somebody saying it's the most haunted pub in Edinburgh, I'm like, bollocks. You know, but it didn't disappoint, did it?
Absolutely not.
Who wants to start?
Well, it's a location that we've been to quite a few times now, and it varies as does any other location. You know, it does vary in its level of activity every time you go. But it's one of these places that every time we go, we're picking up more and more information, and it's becoming a lot more active in recent times. I think Spirit's getting used to us now, maybe, and is opening up to us quite a bit. But it was quite interesting, wasn't it? Those two happenings, the city occurrence and the ring was quite fascinating.
Yeah. So I have got the city video. It's very rough, but I can play that just now for anybody who wants. Well, hopefully I can play it. As I say, it's not long. It's pretty rough. So.
Now, there's only the one chapel you haven't lit up, and that poor lady asked you very nicely to do it for her.
That's not the one we were looking at. Could you light up the other one? Please. Have you spirit talker on?
No, we don't
We don't
use that.
iPhone
is on air.
We don't use that.
That's City.
What was that?
That's City.
That's
I think.
City
Sounds like
on her
City.
phone.
Because I asked them. Could you light up the other one? Please.
No.
No, that's you told Nicola.
But, I
Wow.
just found that hilarious. I really did.
Yeah. So obviously, the guys were raving. I was getting messages basically. Banshee was brilliant. Blah blah blah. You're not going to believe what happened with Claire's phone. So I'm an Android guy, but my son Craig, who's in the group as well, he's an iPhone guy. So we are immediately trying to debunk what's going on here, and we can't. So anytime you ask Siri a question, as Claire will tell you, Siri doesn't just go no, does it? Does she? But when she's on airplane mode, she tells you she's on airplane mode and she can't answer the question. So I then spoke to a relative who works with Apple devices every day and asked him. And he said, nope, it can't do that. There's plans in the future to have an offline Siri, but at the moment it cannot do it. And again, he said, and it would tell you, the way Siri speaks to you. It just doesn't go no. So absolutely fascinating capture, which as today I can't debunk. And as I said, I haven't seen anybody else come along and offer any real suggestion as to what could have caused it.
No, absolutely not. It was hilarious. It was like funny, wasn't it? But then to find the ring, and
yes,
the ring when we were moving on, and I was picking up K2s and such like. I had a K2 on the table directly in front of Claire, and as I was clearing things up, there was a big perspex, like very gothic, heavy, like big knuckle duster ring, and it caught my eye, and I thought, oh, somebody's put a crystal down, I better pick it up. And it was a ring, and it didn't belong to anybody there, and it was in a very prominent position right next door to my K2. You could not have missed it. And looking back at the video and stills that are taken, it wasn't there, but it was there when I was clearing up.
it's fascinating.
I've taken quite a few videos as well, and none of my videos picked up the ring.
No. So I've left it with SJ. I thought, I wonder if that belongs to SJ. And I've just, and she didn't know it's not mine. So I've left it behind the bar. So if anybody wants to come along and claim it, it's there. But it was just quite unusual.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. And it's as I say, I mean, to get that two pieces of evidence. I know, Nicola, you've got some other audio as well that you've picked up on as well. The cat ball activity.
See, I find the experience totally different, and I think it was the fact that your team was there, because I never ever experienced anything in the lounge area. And when I sat down, I was immediately overcome by this presence, and I'm not like that. So that's why I said, like, anybody sensitive want to sit here, that's how I'd already ticked off from it. And I had never picked up that energy in that lounge before, so it was actually really interesting to see. And honestly, and the thing about audio, I mean, audio is quite difficult because it's what you hear. Maybe other people, it's just not as clear to them, and so I just present what I hear. And there was definitely the witches was coming through. I've never had that. I mean, I've been to the Banshee several times, and there hasn't been reference to witchcraft. It was several times, and there was other bits of audio that it was referenced as well. That it just couldn't even clear up. To sort of 0.5%. So I found it a completely different experience. with your team there. I think we were dealing with different spirits, you
No,
know.
it's normally
that
kind of
normally
either in the pool room or the cinema that we tend to get more activity.
The only thing I was sort of left thinking was, I mean, you were picking up on the name Lucas, and that was the only thing that didn't really sit with me. And it's to do with the Irish accent, because it's not, we say it Luke, you know, and when we talk, we go, look at us, you know, which could come across, look at, you know, look us, you know, because it's, if you understand what I'm saying, I was going to say, like, it's like, to me, it was like, Luke, you know.
Luke was a prompt rather than a name.
And it's just different interpretations, like, but it was a weird experience because there was, as I said to Claire earlier on, there's things there wouldn't present. You know, there was things going on and said in the cinema that's not for public either. You know, it was very personal to other people, and I would never dream of sharing anything like that. You know, because that'll be cleaned up and given to the people that owns it, and it's up to them what to do with it. You know.
Well, Jack, there was a lot of activity around our friend Jack, wasn't there? And that's the first time he's ever been on any kind of paranormal do at all in his entire life. And he's not stopped talking about it. He's still going on about it. He's absolutely hook, line and sinker, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. I think he's boring everybody that he comes across now. The stories about what happened at the Banshee, and a lot of the things that he picked up on. I know it was. I was really quite pleased because although he'd never been to anything before, he's very open to sort of spirit and paranormal, and he's had a level of awareness. In recent years through personal loss and such, like he's had feelings and things that, you know, there's something there with them and such like. So I was very pleased for him, and he came away with sort of a certain level of personal validation that he found very comforting. So it did two things for him. It brought him some, you know, some comfort, some personal comfort and validation, and it's also just opened up this whole new world to him that he's hoping to come along. There's no holding him back, I don't think.
So he'll be joining you again soon.
He plans to come to Torwood with us.
Oh, excellent!
In a few weeks' time, so that should be quite interesting.
That's good. So, Kyra and Richie, what did you make of the Banshee then?
Absolutely loved it.
It was worth it. Yeah,
we had a little walk around the place first. I had a lot of like residual energy coming through, just loads of like chatter, no distinct spirit or anything. So I thought, okay, this has the potential to be a really good investigation. And we went into the bar down the back, and I think I was with Claire, and I said, I think this room is going to be really active. And that's the room where the Surrey thing happened, the ring, where we had all the knocking.
Knocking as well, yeah.
It was just, for lack of a better word, it was bouncing activity, you know?
Yeah.
There was a moment for me, like I was doing a rod session in the, is it a pool room, Eileen? And I think it was caught on video actually. I said that I felt someone beside me, and I could feel them walking from my right side to the left, and the cat ball went. As I said, I felt something that I thought that was pretty.
I caught that on the rough footage.
Yeah,
I think I have a video of it too.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I thought because you could actually feel it when I was doing the rods.
It's absolutely fascinating. And for as much as I wanted to debunk all of that thumping and knocking in that bar room, you know, the guys have said, you know, tours do happen above because the vaults are above it. But when it's a tour, you can tell it's a tour. Yeah. And it wasn't until we went off on our own at the end that there was a tour and we really could tell the difference, because I was standing listening to all this thumping going, nah, surely that's got to be people. But it was doing it on command. I even for the first time tried the knocking technique, and we very nearly got like full blown. So close to being perfect that it can't have been a coincidence.
Yeah,
you can certainly hear all the voices and such like when the tours are on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's always going to be a problem in Edinburgh is the noise, isn't it? Because there's so many people about. But certainly I obviously I've only listened to the tapping and the banging on the videos, and it's difficult on the videos to work out what it is.
It's quite indistinct on the video. You have to actually be there.
Yeah. Because there was times where you guys were talking about banging, and I wasn't even hearing it on the video.
No. They were a very dull. It was a very dull kind of thud, wasn't it? It wasn't. It wasn't like a hard.
You really could tell the difference between when there was a tour up above you to what you were hearing whilst we were actually investigating.
Yeah, that's cool. It's really good. It's really
Claire, it's an interesting place. It really is, you know.
Yeah.
And it's good that we can get to go when that's the only downtime they have on the Monday mornings, because it's open till 4 o'clock, and that's the place if you ever do Nidgy Street tours, and you know, at night time, and you hear all the loud music, and you can't. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I know folk that have investigated the vaults on a Saturday night and said it was a waste of time.
You can't.
Absolute waste of time.
No.
Yeah. Claire, what about yourself then?
Oh, I loved the place. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed investigating the Banshee. It's strange when we did the walk round. I didn't feel nauseous, and it sounds horrible, but you know that way when you feel like you're going to be sick and your mouth just fills up with saliva, and you just can't quite. I don't know. It was just a really odd sensation walking around the whole place, feeling like that initially, and then when we were in, is it Molly's bar? Is that what it's called? In Molly's room. When you were picking up on the spirit, and I came and sat down, and just such an odd sensation of my heart racing, and just so aware that there was something around me. And then thinking, okay, am I sat in your seat? You're not happy about me being here. Do you want me to move? And the odds, yes, I want you to move. Okay, I'll move over then. But and then we had the cat ball next to me, which was then going off intermittently when we were asking questions, and then it just completely stopped. But strangely, when it completely stopped, that was when that atmosphere kind of changed. It didn't feel like there was somebody there anymore, that whoever was there had walked out. And then just the whole experience with my phone going off, that was just so strange, so strange.
A fascinating place.
A really fascinating place. I'd love to investigate it again, just to see what else you could pick up on. And
I mean, I always say that.
To miss it.
Yeah, I always say that like Inverness Jail is the most active place I've ever investigated, but I think the Banshee might be up there with it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly we're finding more and more every time we go back. You know, there's something different to learn. But it's certainly an interesting place. Lots of history.
It's interesting as well, I think, when you go to different places with different people, you know, different spirits are attracted out and different, so you can get, so it's quite interesting, you know. It's good to go back as a team routinely, but sometimes just having that one person gives you that like aha moment that is maybe just being missing when it's, you know, so it's good to kind of go with the different energies, I think, sometimes to places.
Yeah, adding an extra dimension sometimes makes all the difference. We've seen that as well when we've gone to places. But I think as well, I know Scott, we've spoken about, I think Eileen, we've spoken about it as well, as the fact that when you are going to the same location over and over again, you do seem to build up a trust. So yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot of people say, you know, going to the same location is boring. You know, some folk might find it boring. I mean, we've done various locations, you know, as a one-off and never went back. But I think if you find that location, you know, that one particular location that you tend to, you've got that atmosphere, you've got the feeling that, you know, you should be there kind of thing, and the spirits are willing to come forward and talk to you, then keep at it. You know, don't just walk away and say, right, I've had enough, I'm never going back there. The other side of the coin is that I think we spoke about as well, that I mean, take loud, the spirits might be lonely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you go to this place and they decide to go start talking to you, and then you decide you're never going back again, then, you know, I don't know, people might laugh at this, but make them kind of sad in a way. Who's to say it's not as simple as that? You know, they came to talk to me, but now they're going away. I wish they would come back.
Yeah. I mean,
to get to know you.
I mean, I've certainly done sessions in the past with Rods where I've asked questions like, are we the first person that's spoken to you in a very long time? And we've got a yes. Right? And they're happy. Are you happy that we're speaking to you? Yes, straight away. So it makes perfect sense. Certainly, yeah, definitely. I think that.
I mean, that's why I think these big locations that get, no disrespect to them, but they get just investigated to death, pardon the pun. You know, but you go to places that nobody goes to, nobody's ever been.
I thought with that, didn't I? That like these big locations, do you think spirit get fed up of people coming in trying to communicate?
Oh, they must do. They must do.
Basically, aye.
You know, because they're just people as well, but on the other side. So,
I mean, I know somebody kept coming up to me asking me if I was a male or female, or, you know, if I was there. It'd be like, Jesus, go away. You know.
Yeah.
Did you die here?
Well, you'd be tempted to have a wee joke with them. You know, are you a male? No, I'm a female. You know, how long you been here? You know, 2 days. You know, you give them some bull just to get them out your face, basically. But I know, they get fed up, and that's why, as I say, you go to like say Caldwell, Loudon, you guys have been locations as well. Nobody's ever done. You know, it's with a fresh face. You know, somebody's came to talk to me. You know, come on in, I'll talk. You know, ask me whatever you want. You know, that's just barbecue.
Yeah, I think I think Neil, who we used to make regular contact, I think he got more and more fed up with us because he almost became aggressive towards the end, and we just decided, right, we need to back off this gentleman. Because it was, I mean, I was guilty of it. I thought, do you know what? I'm asking this guy time and time again, anytime I come here, to, for want of a better word, perform, to speak to me, to do something. You know, if I was in his shoes, I'd be pissed off. So, yeah, I totally get that.
I wonder what spirit made of the pandemic. Eh? They must have thought, oh, this is lovely, wee holiday.
Where is it? I mean, and everybody's got their own way of investigating and stuff like that, you know, and you get people that they ask the same thing over and over again, and can you touch this, can you do this? But, I mean, who's to say, build up a repertoire with them, tell them about your day, which is sort of like we've tried it, yeah, I'm saying it, tell them what kind of day you've had, you know, whether you've been working or whatever. And it might be of interest to them to hear about you rather than us hear about them. They might be wanting to hear about you. Well, do you work? What do you do? You know, that kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
That's an interesting take on it. Yeah, don't know if anybody interested. Well, I've been up to the day though.
Yeah, I mean, if you met a person, it would be a conversation, wouldn't it? Because otherwise, it's just like a interrogation or an interview. If you're just like, you know, and especially as you say, getting asked silly questions. Maybe we need to get ChatGPT to write some interesting questions for paranormal investigations and really throw the cat among the pigeons and ask some random stuff next time.
Yeah, I'm not sure we want to use AI, but I get enough grief. I get enough grief on AI with the images I use. So, yeah, but no, I think it's a valid theory and a valid way to go forward is to try it. But isn't it? It's all about learning and trying different things to see what works. Some things work, some things don't. You know, so yeah, why not? Why not?
It's always nice to get somebody else's perspective on things as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I like working with other groups, is to get that. Oh, I never thought of that approach. Never thought of
You
doing
learn
that.
something every time you go out with a different group.
Yeah,
So you do.
yeah. So, I always appreciate to get that opportunity to go and investigate with other groups, because being stuck up here, it's kind of rare. Yeah, there's not many of us up here, but so we really appreciate what you guys did for us.
Well, you'd be very, very welcome anytime, you guys. I really enjoyed
Very
it.
welcome
Thank
indeed.
you all.
I'm sure we will be back down. Before we finish off, I must ask you, have you guys, what you got planned this year? Have you got anything planned? So, Eileen, we'll start with you. What's Family plans?
Well, the next thing we have planned is Torwood. I might be our friend Graham Milne. You know Graham, I think Liam, the author.
Oh yeah,
from North Edinburgh.
Yep.
What's his name?
Yep. North Edinburgh Nightmares.
North Edinburgh Nightmares. Graham. Well, Graham actually came to the Banshee with me at Christmas time.
Right.
Along with John Tuntalan from North Edinburgh Nightmares. I can't remember. They're close to the line. Erie Edinburgh or something.
Yep.
And he's very kindly, to reciprocate, offered me a little walking tour, a spooky walking tour. Cool. So I'm hoping to get that organised for some time towards the end of April. We've got Torwood arranged for May. And we'll probably do a few out and about days over the summer months. I want to get back to Dirrelton. Nicole, you'd love Dirrelton. It was lovely. We had a really, really good day there with Jacqueline Dixon in the summer months. That was a brilliant day. So I'd like to get back there and have a look around there. And that's about all we have planned at the moment.
Cool. Look forward to keeping updated on Facebook about all your adventures. Nicola, you got anything? Are you just going to be your usual out and about when?
For Armley Mills now in April, down in Leeds. Right. So I book these things and forget about them. So that's with Midnight Paranormal. So I think it's the 10th of April or sometime. It's sort of mid-April anyway. And then Torwood with Eileen. And then we have another investigation that we booked. Was it Jedburgh Jail, was it?
No. Oh, that's October time. I had forgotten about that.
But I'm patiently waiting because they've closed, the castle down the road from me, Ravenscraig. Yeah, that was just my go-to castle. I don't believe it's haunted. There's residual stuff there, but there's a little graveyard right behind it. And I pick up quite a bit of there, but I only can pick it up when I get into the... It's weird. I have to go into the castle first, then come out of the castle and go into... It's nearly as if I'm following the route of the spirit, into the graveyard then. But the castle is closed during the pandemic and it's actually opening up again within the next 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that. And then I have Janine O'Dain. I've arranged to bring a friend to within the next couple of weeks. And I'll go back to Balmerino Abbey and we bits and pieces. Because as I say, I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, nothing planned, and then I'll go. Cool. And I could end up, as I was saying to the girls, I could take a notion and say, right, I'm up in Inverness or I'm up in Aberdeen. That's just, the weather's good, I just pack a bag and go. And it doesn't bother me. I'll drive down to Leeds that day. In April, I'll drive home that night.
Awesome. Awesome.
So you never know where. I'll definitely go back on the Rutherford Barracks during the summer.
Well, we're planning Rutherford again. We've got a date for just yesterday. So we're definitely going to go back to Labrinth because we've had some really good activity there the last couple of times we've visited. So really looking forward to going back there.
Just like that location's just out of this world. I really do.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Near the castle advertised there.
Trophies.
Yes,
unfortunately, I'm in Ireland because I've seen it on the Maxi in Ireland.
I missed it. I don't know why. I only kind of see your posts if I'm on my own personal Facebook page. Doesn't seem, and I'm very, very seldom on my own page. And I missed it.
I don't know what it is. Do you know what? It's the same for me. I miss posts from certain pages and whatnot. And I've sat there trying to work out what's different between one page and the other page, and I can't fathom it at all.
I think you can add groups that you like and say, see this first. or something like that, and it makes it
maybe
top
that's
of your feed.
maybe
But you can do it for a few anyway, so it's
Yeah.
worth having a look.
Yeah, I'll have a look. But yeah, that one sold out really, really quick. It's small numbers. They have asked us to do another one, so we're going to see how it goes, and we might try and get another date. But unfortunately, I think that it is a National Trust event, so we're just supplying the muscle, as it were, for it. So I think they're quite keen if they do another event that they advertise it solely, not us, because we advertised it and all the tickets went. So I think quite a few locals didn't get tickets. So they're quite keen to do another one. But yeah, we're looking forward to that one. And we've got a few others as well, which I'll mention in a minute. Scott, you are busy. I see you've got lots of guests coming on.
We've got guests lined up until May, and then we're taking a wee break not taking a big break, but just taking a step back for the live shows to concert. Our Wallace show's been put on hold because one of the members of the society recently lost his son, so that's why we're not doing that's been put on hold for a couple of months. We've got a few guests lined up. Laura's starting her new show next Tuesday. I want to say Tuesday. She'll probably correct me if I'm wrong. Laura's doing a wee show in mysteries and stuff. And then after May, we've got two collabs planned in May at Lououn. And hopefully Nicola and Eileen will be coming back out to see us.
Oh, definitely.
I'll definitely come up for your nighttime one, whatever time we arrange that. I'll definitely do that.
Well, you're welcome anytime, though. The door's always open.
We'll have to bring flasks of hot soup.
Oh, grow up. You're Scottish, Irene. Well, you're for Fife. You're for that side, didn't you? You're for the East Coast.
He's from Edinburgh.
I know, you're for Fife, Nicola. Sorry.
We're used to wind coming off the coast of the shore.
But buy a big jacket, Eileen. Seriously, get used to it. You're Scottish, for God's sake. You're meant to be cold.
I just bought USB hand warmers, and they stay warm for something like 10 hours.
Oh, now there's a thought.
There you go.
Go to Amazon. I'll send you the link.
Oh,
Can you let me know if they work, Lindsay?
I'll let you know. I just bought them today because I was like, that's one bit that gets cold.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know.
Laura will make you lentil soup. So that is actually quite nice. Actually, we got the summer. We're planning a few road trips, and we're going to be doing Souls of the Old Town as well. We'll start filming that with CRA. That's in Edinburgh. And so we got a lot. You know yourself, your mind's always gone. You come up with these daft ideas and stuff like that, and you think.
well, give me a shout if you're coming to Edinburgh, Scott.
Well, we're hoping to get through there in the next couple of weeks. It's just a shame we couldn't make the Banshee.
I know. I'll get you there. That's twice you've not been able to come through.
I know, though.
We'll get you there eventually.
I was actually cleaning up the mess that mob for Highland left in the house that day.
Oh, yeah, I know.
All the crisp dust.
Aye. Eating the biscuits and stuff like that,
Can't take us anywhere.
Laura, for their wonderful hospitality.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura.
Delicious.
Thank you for keeping vegetarians.
Everybody says that thanks for the hospitality and for catering to the vegetarians.
And thank you to Tiami for her magic tricks.
Oh, thank you to Tiami for your magic tricks, baby girl. They're on the Xbox, so just leave them.
Leave them to it,
Aye, when the Xbox is on, the world does not exist. Do you know what I mean?
Cool. Okay, guys. What have we got on then? Put them on the spot now. See if they can remember.
We are at Pool House on the 12th of April.
Cool.
We are in Oban at Denali Castle on the 26th. Denali Castle Museum, yeah. We are at Crathis on the 10th of May.
Yeah.
And I think that's everything for the public that we've got going on.
At the moment, yeah, that's it. Well done. I wouldn't even got the dates for that. I'd have to write them down.
I'm busy looking at that.
I would have been right. Hang on a minute, let me have a look. I'm so bad to remember.
So yeah, and there's only tickets left for Oban. All the other events are completely sold out. And I don't. Again, the Oban ones, the charity ones, the charity are organising it, so I'm not sure. I heard there's limited tickets left for that one.
It always rains in Oban. It always
Don't say
rains.
that.
It didn't the last time we were there.
No, that's true.
Yeah, in fact, it didn't the last time we were there. It was cold though.
Yes.
Not take umbrellas over.
Yeah. So we've got that, and then as I said, we've actually got at least one location a month through the summer, with more to come. We've got some private work to do as well. So we've got a really interesting private case coming up in May, which has been long outstanding. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Something a bit different. So yeah, well, plenty of ghost walks. Both ghost walks are sold out. So that's April and May's ghost walks are sold out. I'll put June on soon. We'll also be doing something for the Walking and Wheeling Festival here in Inverness again. But I need to get my head around that. And then we do our friends walks as well. So we've got one in a couple of weeks' time at Clawden Woods. So that's an interesting one. Clawden Woods has actually got its own Clootie Well, and it's also got the Prisoner's Stone, where Jacobites were executed. So it's a really interesting location. So the last time we did a walk there, it poured rain. So hopefully the weather will be better for that. And then I'm also doing another one with the friends actually, which is called basically it's the Ghost Buildings of Inverness. So I'm going to take people around Inverness and show them what beautiful buildings used to be there, and are now being replaced by blocks of concrete. So yeah, so busy. So it sounds like we're all going to be busy, which is good. So again, guys, thanks so much for coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again for your hospitality, for the team. Hopefully we will see you up north at some point soon as well, because the invitation is open. And Nicola, I will let you know when we're going to Ruthven.
I'll be there.
And yeah, or if you're coming up to Ruthven, let us know, and we'll see what we can do, and see if any of the team are about to head down, because I love Ruthven. You know, I'm a big. I grew up with an interest in Jacobites and whatnot, so that side of it always intrigues me. And the last time we were there, Nicola, I'm not joking, we're in the car park and we see 3 figures coming out from the barracks in full Jacobite regalia. It was, believe it or not, it was a reenactment group from, I think it was Yorkshire or somewhere.
It was Robert Costin.
No, these were English lads who were they were up for a weekend at the Folk Museum in Newton Moor, and they obviously
in costume.
They were in costume, full costume, swords, targe, the lot, kilts, the lot. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah. And interesting that you missed that men in kilts, and you missed it. So yeah, but definitely we'll get you up for that. So what I'll do, I'm going to end the stream just now, guys. So thanks to everyone for watching tonight, or watching on catch up. We're going to probably try and do some more lives over the next few weeks, just us coming on and having a blather. So hopefully you can join us for that. But if you haven't already, check out Whispering Souls Paranormal, Phantom Seekers Paranormal, and Paranormal History. They're all on Facebook, so check these guys out. So I will wish you all a good night, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.